Dua Lipa just did an interview with Vogue France, and for the photo shoot, she bleached her eyebrows, and you know that means you're about to hear a feminist tirade. She's about to go off about the patriarchy and Me Too and all of this stuff. I just don't understand why these glamorous, attractive female celebrities allow creative directors on these photo shoots to just make them look like hairless, greasy aliens for fun. Like we were, yeah. Like if I were in their position, I simply wouldn't do it. I would not allow them to make me look like that.
Be like, make me look pretty.
Yeah, like I'm in a Vogue cover shoot. Can you make me look pretty for once? We were just talking about this actually, how women in Hollywood are embracing looking as ugly and disturbing as possible.
I saw your show on that. Yeah, that was a good.
I want to know what your take is on this trend and like what compels them to do this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I watched that segment. They want to be ugly because they want to push off the.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you guys. Hold, please.
Totally not disrupting the point at all.
It's part of the charm of the show. It's what people tune in for.
Continue.
I love how you guys keep having to feed money into the machine.
We need
That's
to make
great.
like some type of like thing that just tips in.
Yeah.
Like the card shufflers.
Yes.
But anyway, your take on embracing ugliness.
Yeah, I think they want to upend the concept of beauty and the concept of natural beauty, and remake our understanding of what's beautiful. I don't know what's exactly behind this. All I can really think of is something incredibly nefarious is going on here.
Phil would tell you it's Marxism.
Well, Phil says everything is Marxism.
Yes.
But a lot of it, I think, a lot of it comes out of the punk culture, which made women very unattractive. So it's kind of like if you already feel ugly, you're going to make yourself uglier so you don't feel bad about being ugly.
Make all of your surroundings
just make
ugly.
everything really hideous and disgusting, so that you're like a hideous fat woman sitting in a brutalist building looking like a greasy alien,
It's a big cope, basically.
It's a big cope is what I think it is.
It's a reflection of social media.
This is that like business core thing, that like
the big giant blazer,
the giant
that
coat
hides your shape, and it's just so unfortunate because Dua Lipa is literally a model,
and I don't like the eyebrows.
To hide her natural beauty and hide her figure and look like Jeffree Star. Look androgynous. It's very anti-woman. And speaking of which, she was asked, do you have any plans to become a mother in the future? She joked, she won't be a mother anytime soon. The only baby I'm thinking about is my new album. The interviewer says, for thousands of years, it was taken as a given that women would become mothers. Today, many of my female friends aren't sure if they want children. I feel like this expectation is weaker than ever before. Maybe because the world has become too dangerous and the future seems too bleak? ?
Oh, that's so stupid. They've been saying that since the 70s. Like in Annie Hall, is it Annie Hall or is it Husbands and Wives? Anyway, I have watched all of his films, but he talks about how he would never bring a child into this world because it's so horrible and there's pollution, and it's like that was literally in the 70s, and they just keep pushing this anti-life concept on us, whether it's you don't need to have children, or the world is too dangerous for children, or it's climate change is going to kill everybody, and Extinction Rebellion is like, I'm not going to have children to spite you guys because of everything, and then you end up miserable and sad. My only real regret is that I didn't have more children. I'm like so grateful that I have a child, and I look at him and I'm just there's the future right there. It also makes it more possible, so like when you go through life, at a certain point, I saw this with my grandparents, they started living more in the past than in the future because they were very old. So most of their recollections and thought process was about, their past. But if you have a child, you can look into the future, whereas it's much harder otherwise to look into the future if you can't see yourself in it because you're going to, be dead. So
yeah, to me, it's just like decide what it is. Like, what is your actual objection to becoming a parent? Is it because the world is so awful, or is it because you want to have as much time to yourself to enjoy how great the world is without someone bogging you down? what
And
like
meanwhile,
what is
kids
it really?
don't bog you down at all. It's
Well, that's what she seems to think
Yeah.
here. She says,
yeah.
the modern world is crazy, but beyond that, I think women have acquired a place in society that was forbidden before. And yet, has the desire to have children disappeared? I think women want to do things at their own pace and not feel guilty for thinking of themselves. For me, when the moment is right, I'll know. But then until then, I have other priorities. I want to continue making the most of my youth.
Was Lucille Ball held back? I don't think so. She produced Star Trek, for goodness sake.
It's also true because we've made it easier for women to have kids later and later now.
Well, that's a myth, though. I mean,
I'm not
really
saying
difficult.
I'm not saying it's safer.
And then they like buy women in third world countries and rent their bodies to do it for them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the between surrogacy and the fact that we just live longer now too, people think they've got all the time in the world, and they don't stop thinking in the moment. And in the moment isn't how you actually have to plan your life out.
I kind of feel like, I understand not everybody wants to have kids or whatever, but I don't know why we have to, as a culture, shame people for having children, put down the impulse to reproduce, or constantly be telling women that it's not the thing they want to do.
And that's the
like
other
if it's a
thing.
choice, it's a
Yeah.
choice. Stop making it so that it's you should not have children. That's the message that so many people get.
They make it about where they say, I'm being shamed for not having kids, when that's not really what it is now. Now you're being shamed for having kids at a young age because they say, what are you doing that for? You have your whole life in front of you. Why are you wasting your life by doing this when everyone knows that that's not the way that things actually are now? Now you're shamed because it's the same way they say about, feminism was about equal rights, but they still shame you if you get married and have kids now. Mm-hmm. If you choose to be a housewife, you're shamed for doing so because you chose, because they see it as oppression and you see it as family.
Right.
And that's not the real world. That's just how their more dejected and nihilistic view of the world interprets your existence.
Right. Plus, if you have kids young, then they grow up and leave, and you're young.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't mean like insanely young. My sister had kids when she was like 25.
You don't want to be Al Pacino having kids at 80. So when he's 18,
wasn't it Dustin Hoffman?
He was like, I'm finally ready.
Al Pacino.
Oh my goodness.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro both had kids in their 80s. One was 80.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, those kids
not.
they're going to be dead before those kids are 18. Mm-mm. And there's actually an interesting kind of fringe discussion about the ethics of that, right? Like, is it ethical to have a kid at 80 knowing that, first of all, you're never going to be able to play with them outside? You're 80. Like, it's just not going to happen. But also, like, by the time he's graduating,
sleeping more than they
you're going
are.
to be 98 years old when he graduates high school.
Right.
Like,
Okay, we've got one from Jay Raymond. Women's healthcare is a complete mess. Current EMT and nursing student, they basically take a wait-and-see approach on a lot of it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, societally. I mean, I'm going to be, like, totally honest. I'm not a mother yet. I am very confident that becoming a mother is going to be something very fulfilling for me. But the idea of becoming, like, selfless is absolutely terrifying. Like, that is terrifying. And I don't want to tell women that that's, like, not a valid thing to worry about. But it's just not something you should let paralyze you.
It just sort of happens, though, and then you're glad.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't turn into a... You don't suddenly like have to be selfless and you're like, oh no, I have to do this. You're like, oh, this is great. Mm-hmm. That was what my grandmother said. My grandma Dagmar, she said, I was like, Grandma, I'm kind of freaked out. I'm pregnant. I don't have any idea how to raise a child. I don't know what to do. She's like, you'll know everything. It'll be fine.
You'll figure it out as you go.
Because I mean, what else are you naturally programmed to do?
She was like, it's going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
You got it. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's not easy, but
to shift, I just wanted to complain about how stupid celebrity interviews are because
which one?
They're so gay. Like,
I love
the entire exercise is just inflating the already gigantic egos of these celebrities and asking them inane questions, and to which the answers I'm just like, who cares? This one asked, the butterfly is one of your motifs. When you were little, did you like catching them? She said, never. I was just fascinated by their beauty, their freedom. And then I thought about the butterfly's experience.
Oh my
Such a brief life, a metamorphosis. We as humans, too, go through so many metamorphoses.
But it wasn't the fruit fly that caught her attention. Just the butterfly. Okay.
Like,
And
it's just torture.
It
Who
go-
is reading this?
it goes in the lines of all the things that they tell you that are not real. That's not
This
real
is why
sayings.
celebrities
Yeah.
think that they're really, really fucking important.
Yes.
That's what happens with a lot of famous people, though. Is like everyone gets around, kisses their ass, and then they're like, "Oh, I must be genius and brilliant and really smart and also rich and
And they're
all
like,
of the rest." And
oh,
you're
we
like,
find out they're a jerk behind the
"It's
scenes?
like everyone's just sucking your dick." That's all.
Wow.
And
Who would've thought?
nobody stops to tell you maybe that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like,
The butterfly, huh?
Yeah.
That's like the dumbest shit I've ever heard, Dua.
wow,
Yeah, that is
you really
pretty
said that out
stupid.
loud, huh?
That's crazy.
Big yikes, bro.
Yikes.
Big yikes, bro. Like, I don't know if I would have said that out loud. It was really brave of you to admit that you're that stupid. Like, but I mean, that goes along with the fact that we live on our phone. Like, we live and everything we talk now is through transcript. So we talk differently than we did 20 years ago. I maintain that when you watch television shows now, people talk like they're on Twitter a lot.
You
And
think so?
I believe that people write in short bursts now, so people don't actually sound authentic when they talk on TV and movies. It's why phrases like "step into your confidence" are a thing now. That doesn't mean
That's
anything.
a terrible phrase. That's
doesn't-
awful.
Doesn't mean anything, and that's the world we live in now. Everybody's talking in flowery lingo, and there's no better place for them to do that than in these stupid interviews where somebody asks a question that dumb. Right?
Yeah.
And they love it because they say it and they're just like, man, I sounded so cool right there. They're just like, dude, everyone's going to read this and be so impressed. And meanwhile, we're over here like, nobody reads interviews
You're
anymore.
gay!
Dude. Like we have to read it for work and even we don't want to read it. Like, nobody's reading this.
No.
That's not a thing. They're going to Taylor Swift concerts, maybe.
Maybe.
Other than that, they're not, they're...
Except for
Definitely
Ariana
don't care
Grande.
what Taylor Swift thinks of a butterfly.
They actually, that's not even true. Her fans would care. That's the problem. Her fans
Would they all
actually-
get like face tattoos of butterflies?
They would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would
like
do
just
that.
right down the middle and the.
But her fans are scary. Like,
She also has some thoughts on when she was a model back in the day, when she was a teenager. She said she was body shamed.
Oh.
And she says she left modeling to start her music career because one guy told her that she would need to lose weight for a job. That was the entire reason she just said, F this, I'm not modeling anymore.
I do love...
One guy said lose
Just
weight.
one guy.
One man. That's the power of men talking.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Like, you're gonna
there's
let
so many
that-
stories of just women just hearing somebody say something mean to them, and there's like a 9-paragraph article written about this, and then
They're like, I don't even care.
I don't care, but I'm going to tell you in 9 paragraphs why.
and no, it's not. But it's not even them saying that. It's 9 paragraphs of that person telling you what happened, and then the person writing the articles talking about how we need to change the entertainment industry,
Right, literally
how we
everything.
behave around the opposite
Video
sex,
games.
Everything needs to change because somebody told this lady, "Yo, bitch, you need to lose some weight." Like.
Because modeling is about products and clothes.
Exactly.
And not you.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Models
Okay,
are
Baron of
supposed to be
Gray Matter.
hangers.
He
Yeah.
said, it's interesting. Women have been selfless since there have been kids and families. Men have too in a different way. War, dangerous jobs, etc. It's called being mature and self-actualized. You aren't the hero. Your legacy is.
And we don't encourage it anymore, right? We encourage narcissistic behavior. We encourage
You want your
to-
legacy to be, when people talk about you in college courses in 2050 or something.
I used to
don't
have
know.
that thought about myself, right? Like, oh, I want my work to live
It's
on
valuable.
after me.
Like, it's something.
And now I kind of don't care. I'm kind of like, at a certain point, I'd like to have a cup of tea, sit on the back porch, and not worry about anything.
Well, I hope my dad wasn't waiting for me to be the one to carry on.
I mean,
to,
like
to,
your
to be
funeral,
impressive.
your funeral is gonna be like sad and everything, but someone's gonna ask like, okay, where are the hors d'oeuvres? You
Oh,
know?
for sure.
Like,
and I
that's
I
just
hope
what it
that there
is.
are some
It's a
good
circle of
ones.
life, baby.
Little canapes.
Do we want to continue torturing ourselves with this, or
No, I'm completely.
Did we
fine
talk
with-
about the eyebrows? We did.
We did.
we did?
The eyebrows are a
did.
universal sign that something bad is happening.
Either that or she's about to be non-binary.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
no. Her career has at least a couple more years before she has to do that. So what happens is she does the modeling, then she complains about the modeling, does the music. She does the music. She paints the eyebrows to go through her feminist phase where she complains about misogyny. Then comes the book deal.
Right, I was
5
gonna
years
say,
later,
when's the memoir?
Then,
Yeah.
then the memoir, and then eventually what you get to the very last stop on the train tracks is when they have to pose naked at 60 and talk about how it's empowering to be ugly, old, and naked.
Awful.
That's the last stage.
I hate that so much. I hate that one.
That is literally the life cycle of the Hollywood woman.
And you have
Right?
to like begrudgingly say, well, they look really good for 60, but
Yeah.
I would rather not see this.
Either that or they have to get a ton of work done and just
Yeah.
look totally fake.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.